This is all student work from last year. This is what your assignment's going to end up looking like. Yes. So here's what's going to happen today. When you finish and show me 10 different patterns, hopefully similar to the ones that I demonstrated for you the other day, from your sketchbook, this is actually a handout. I taped it in there. So those are all the ones I did the other day. This page took me about 2 hours. You did a good job. I've been drawing for a very long time. So again, some of these are really well done. This student took great care in making sure that the lines were very carefully drawn with precision. This one, not so much. It doesn't look bad necessarily, but it's just not as well done. This is what I'm talking about, having closer, more details. So probably this area could have been completely filled with flowers, rather than having all this space in between. Same thing up in here. There are other things that could have gone in here other than just big lines. I have a suspicion that this started getting closer to the end of the project, and so she decided to just very quickly fill them in. Again, super detailed. Emiliano Valdez. So one of the other features of this is, I'm going to give you a piece of paper. You're going to trace your hand on it like this. And you will notice that the hand goes all the way to the edge of the page. So what's going to happen is, you're also going to draw the first letter of either your first name or your last name and put it in front of it like these other examples. So for instance, if I was going to do the letter C, I'm going to do this in such a way that it helps the design. So I'm going to do a very fat letter C on here. Every time it crosses the line, the pattern's going to change. Not yet. You see it? You can do any letter you want, but I would prefer, it would make more sense if it was either the first letter of your first name or the first letter of your last name. So then, see this little area right here? That's a little tiny area. I would probably cut the C short or change the angle. You're not going to erase anything until the very end, after the ink is dry. You can also run the letter off to the side of the page if you want to. You just have to know that every single time it crosses the line, it's going to be a different pattern. Okay? It's okay to have the same pattern in more than one place on the design, as long as it's not right next to it. So see how this one crosses over here? I could have the same pattern here in this area. And the same pattern here in this area. It would be better if it were a little bit further away, but it's okay as long as they're not touching next to each other like this. It'll make sense as you start doing it. So, and all of this, other than the pencil lines to design your letter and trace your hand and also do the frame, everything else is going to be in ink, meaning with an ink pen, which is permanent. I only have enough paper for everyone to have one of these, which means you need to very carefully do your work, take care of your work. If you're going to transport it back and forth between here and home, you need to take great care that it doesn't get all wrinkled. I had people turn in the collage assignment, the last one we did, and it looked like they put it in the garbage, emptied the trash, and then took it out of the trash and brought it to school. I'm not kidding. Yeah, it was brutal. They took all the time that it took you all to finish that assignment, and when it got to school, it was a mess. Didn't have any stains or anything on it, but it was all wrinkled. The piece that was glued to the back had holes in it, and I was like, "What did you do to this? Did your dog get a hold of this?" Seriously, I mean, it was a mess. And she spent probably as much time, several hours like everyone else doing the assignment. But the presentation was horrible because she did not take care and use good craftsmanship. Craftsmanship is one of the keys in here. The craftsmanship is the care that you take while you're doing your work to make sure that it looks presentable when it goes on the wall. Okay? So that's what this current assignment is going to look like. If you want to alter any of these lines, just make sure to draw them lightly before you darken them in. And actually, if you draw them lightly, you don't have to erase anything until the very end. So you can fix those things like, I would probably play around a little more with the C here because there's a lot of really small places here. Okay? And as long as you can recognize what the letter is, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you might want to practice in your sketchbook drawing the letter a couple of times too. Okay?